Good morning. Welcome to week 2. I apologize for doing the Zoom meeting so early in the day, but with it being Wednesday, I realize that you guys need a lot of this information for your assignments that are coming up. I will post this recording for you to watch at your convenience. I'm sure you're probably overwhelmed right now with all the different things that you're juggling, so I thought maybe this would be helpful just to go ahead and post it for you all to enjoy and watch when you can. Keep in mind, I can schedule a Zoom meeting whenever, anytime anybody needs it. So I can even schedule a one-on-one Zoom meeting if you're particularly having trouble with something specific. Just know that I can do that at any point in time. My job is to help you be successful in what you're doing, so I'm here to help in any way. Now, with that being said, week 2 is all about language development and emergent literacy. So I thought this clip was something that just kind of brings out the funny side in how important it is that our students are exposed, our students and our own children are exposed to literacy early on. And it just says, "Teeth, any good books lately?" Now, when my children were young, I know the new thing was reading to your baby before they were born. And a lot of people think that that's senseless, but, it's never too early to introduce reading to our kids and our students. So it may seem like they're just looking at the pictures or chewing on the book, but our as humans, we develop by seeing that literacy from an early age, and it helps develop vocabulary. And research has proven that the better the vocabulary, the more exposure there is to words and language, the better off that they are in the end. Unfortunately, in a lot of areas, one particular where I teach, the vocabulary foundation is just not there, and unfortunately those students start off, I don't want to say with a disadvantage, but really it is. It's harder for them to catch up that vocabulary so that they're at the same starting point as those that have been exposed to literacy early on. So I'm going to jump right over. I've got, I can click on the right tab here. This is just about literacy, and it's talking about where emergent literacy started from. And there are a couple of different people that kind of coined the term emergent literacy. One specific is Marie Clay. She used this term just to talk about how young children interact with books, and when they're reading and writing, it's not necessarily one more than the other, but it's kind of like an interlocking. It's a process that takes place together. Now, see if I can get to the next slide. It's a process that takes place, it says the time from birth, but let's face it, there are some that are being exposed to language and literacy even before they're born, and research has backed that up. So we could even, tweak this a little bit so that it shows even more. Literacy is more than just understanding, the language. It's speaking, it's listening, it's reading, it's writing, and viewing. It's never too early to begin reading to a child. Now, it goes on to show, the elements of emergent literacy, and something that was interesting to me is, kids that are 2 and 3, I don't know, if you have children or not, but it doesn't take very long before a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old recognizes what the arches are for McDonald's. That is a form of literacy. Now, something that was different from how I learned in college, I learned that reading takes place a phase before writing, but research has proven, quite the contrary to that. Reading and writing develop at the same time, and they're kind of meshed together. They don't learn how to read first and then learn how to write later. Something that's different from what I would think is right. It says writing is often easier for some children to begin than reading. And I find where I am currently, children are more excited about reading than they are writing because they feel like maybe they're more confident in reading because there's always those context clues where they can look at pictures, they can sound out things. Writing is just not that strong in the area where I teach at, and that's something that we're working on. But where I am, children find it easier to read as opposed to writing. Okay, something that I want to hit on here is that all children pass through these stages at different ways, at different orders, at different ages. It's not something that's the same for everyone. To me, that's a prime example of why we have to use that cycle approach to literacy. You've always got to continue. You don't just kind of do like a staircase method of delivering, because there's always that chance that someone's not getting. Hey, Barbara, how are you?
I'm good. I almost forgot.
Well, that's okay. I kind of sprung it on you all at the last minute. I didn't really want the week to get by without you guys having the information that you needed for your assignment. So, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing fine. I can't complain. The sun's shining, and I guess the day started on a positive note. We're at Wednesday.
Yes.
Now, what I was just talking about was just this week's all about language development and emergent literacy. So I just was trying to pull in some, I guess, some things to help you with your assignments this week and to help you understand, I guess, the progression of it. Do you have any questions so far?
No, matter of fact, that's what I was doing, was researching the library.
Awesome. That's a really good place to start. Let's see here. This slide share that I have here, it's got some pretty good information. It has a lot of good information as a parent. I had actually come across this before, and I thought, well, this kind of ties in exactly with what we're talking about this week with emergent literacy. So something that has been proven in research is that students, I guess, they're going to do better on things if they've got that background information. And really the only way to get that background information is to expose them to that. Let's see here. Let me close out of this and get right into the PowerPoint for this week. Let me see if I can get to where. Are you able to see my screen okay?
Yes, I can.
Good. Sometimes I'm not the best with technology. With emergent literacy, there are a couple of aspects of it that are extremely important. And I teach kindergarten, and I've been there for about 14 years. So it's kind of like these are the golden rules of teaching reading for us. It's exposing them to the concepts of print, developing those alphabetic principles, and it's kind of building that foundation so that they're aware of all the phonics that are around them. You're helping them blend, helping them recognize rhyming words, teaching them how to segment. There's, I guess it can't be stressed enough how important it is to expose them early on. A lot of people oversimplify teaching younger kids because they think it's basically just play, and in a lot of ways it is. They discover through playing, but there's so much to say about providing that basis, that foundation in literacy for them. One thing that I want to point on here is that reading is made up of several different, I guess, aspects or different parts. It's the vocabulary, it's the phonological awareness, the alphabetic principle, print awareness, narrative skills, and print motivation. All of these together make up reading. I thought this picture was just really cute. I don't know, I enjoy reading what our students write. And this one says, "No climbing up the slide, someone could be coming down." And I love the I guess the courage of a child to just jump out there, and not only are they understanding the concepts that make up reading, but they're also learning how to apply those in their own writing so that they're able to allow someone else to read what they're thinking. So something that I thought was, I had gone to training this week, and I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but for me, this was something very different. I went to a training that was on differentiated reading instruction, and the guy that was there told us that in America, we spend way too much time teaching reading strategies, and I was blown away by that because, in my opinion, I look back and I think of learning to read, and I really feel like I benefited from that instruction. But he said that more time should be spent on allowing children or students to develop those reading strategies on their own. I don't know. I had mixed feelings about that. I don't know if you've heard anything about that, or if you have any experience with anyone saying that.
Now, the only thing that was different from what I've been learning is that I was in an experimental group where we did not learn phonics. And we learned by sight words. And that's really hurt me throughout my whole life by not knowing phonics.
And see, I can't imagine just being an educator. I can't imagine teaching reading without being able to, I guess, link it with phonics. I can't imagine the struggles that you've endured because of that.
It's hard. There's times where I can't, if it's a particular word, I can't look at it. If I look away from it, then I can say it.
Wow, that's amazing. Isn't it crazy how education swings from one thing to another? It's like a pendulum.
Yes.
Our poor kids in the meantime,
Yep.
So when I was sitting through this training, I thought, wow, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like our students, like phonics or whole language or the reading strategies, a lot of our students don't get this kind of information from the neighborhood or from home. So I feel like if they don't get it from us, I don't know where they're going to get it from. So I just kind of found that, honestly, I found it crazy, but I don't think I'm supposed to say that. I think it's important for us to show them these strategies and allow them that time where they can experiment with it and they can apply it in their own way, so that when they leave us, they may not necessarily be independent, but they're taking that with them so that they don't always depend on us for these strategies in reading. So let's see here. This right here was one of the main points that I wanted to make this week about reading. It's unfortunate for our readers that they don't get that background. They don't have that strong foundation. So for a lot of them, they read slower, and they don't enjoy reading because of that constant struggle. So they don't read much, and they don't understand a lot. And unfortunately, it's just kind of like it's a circle. It's a process that cycles continuously over and over. That if they don't get that background from us, they're not going to be strong readers. And it's kind of hard to improve as a reader if you don't enjoy it and you don't want to do it, because it's hard.
Right.
So it's kind of one of those things that you hope to break that cycle early on. As educators, whether we're doing it as a teacher or as a parent or as a role model or mentor, our job is to help them be successful in life. And without that reading foundation, unfortunately, it's not easy. So let's see, the week 2 overview, of course, it's all about language development and emergent literacy. It's about helping those students. Let's say maybe they're coming in and English is not their first language. That's really important for us to give them that overview. And with the lecture notes this week, it really gave a little bit more information, kind of helping those that are English language learners. I appreciated the different things that it gave in the notes, talking about the student and the language and the different roles that each of these play. So I won't hit on all that right now, but are you in an area where there are a lot of ELLs?
Yes.
I am as well. I'm from Northwest Georgia, and we really have an influx right now of students that are coming into our schools, and they've never really even been exposed to English. So I can't imagine the struggle that they're enduring as they come in, but it's so amazing how much they pick up. They're immersed in the language. But as far as reading, they're overcoming odds by doing, these amazing things that they're able to do. But when you're in an area like that, information like they give here on these lecture notes is priceless, because it even gives like ideas on the 4 skills that help them be successful. And it's talking about the function, the form, the fluency, and the vocabulary. And it even goes and shows like different strategies that you can try in setting up a student-centered classroom that will allow them to be more successful in acquiring the language. That's something that I really value. I have spent hours on Pinterest just trying to find different things. For lack of a better word, I really admire these kids that are coming in from, let's say, a home where they don't speak English, or maybe a home where they have not been exposed to that vocabulary, that foundation of language that, so many of us are blessed to have. So I feel bad for them, and that's something that I try to pull in more differentiation on. Do you have any ideas on that?
Now, I know in all the courses, we really have studied this on the ELLS, or English as Second Language, because it is so widespread. These students, like you said, they're at a disadvantage as soon as they walk into the classroom. And trying to get them somewhat up to speed is a struggle.
I agree. And I'm so thankful that the courses now, the program through St. Thomas has more, instruction on that, because unfortunately, I guess I'm showing my age. But whenever I took courses and went through training, there were not, I don't want to say, there weren't students that were coming in from abroad, but there wasn't that much of it. So unfortunately, the program didn't reflect that, and it was hard. And I find myself now struggling in that area because I didn't really have that much exposure with training on that. So I love that, you all are getting that exposure where you're getting more strategies to help you, because I really feel like, everybody talks about technology changing education, and it is. Education's kind of like it's Play-Doh. It has to be molded and shaped as you go. So a lot of whenever I was in school, they called it ESOL. So, a lot of these programs are changing now to reflect more than just an English-based classroom. A lot of these students are having to incorporate English into what they already know, and that's their background knowledge. And it's up to us to build a bridge from what they already know to what we want them to know to be successful. So I'm glad that like St. Thomas and other universities are incorporating this into what you guys are getting. You don't want to finish your program and just have all this information that you can't use. So
Right.
Let's see here. I'm going to try to get rid of some of this other. I couldn't resist that. When you say it's one of those days that it can either make you or break you. You can either have a good Wednesday where it feels like it goes by quickly and you're thinking, okay, 10 more days to Friday, we can do this. Sometimes, unfortunately, we've had those Wednesdays where it seems like a Monday all day long. So I just thought it was a cute little clip. Now, your assignments for this week, and I know a lot of you have already kind of gotten ahead a little bit with your work, so this may not be anything that'll help you, but I figured I would hit on the assignments that are due this week. One is reading Chapter 4 in the Cox literature, and you're going to be researching 3 to 5 articles on language development and emergent literacy. And like you pointed out earlier, the library has tons of resources that are very helpful. There's lots of sources there. You can go in and search for the different topics that you feel passionate about. Something else that I liked is St. Thomas has a lot of APA resources. Unfortunately, whenever I was doing my master's program and beyond, we used MLA, and that's a lot different from APA. So I really appreciate those resources that are there. They give a lot of examples where you can look at it and kind of model your paper to look like that. So that was, I guess, pretty exciting for me.
Yeah.
So this paper is a short paper. It's 4 to 6 pages, double spaced. This includes your reference section and your title page. So, it could be as short as 2 pages as far as the content, I guess the meat of your paper. And I'm one of those people, I'm more about the content instead of I guess, how long it is. If you get to the end of your paper and you realize, hey, I've not met the length of the paper, I don't want you to waste time just including fluff. If you've really hit on those 3 to 5 articles and you feel like you've taken care of business, I'm okay with that. Okay. A lot of times, unfortunately, in college courses, and I've had them myself, sometimes they give you that just as a suggestion, but nothing's worse to me than hitting on what you're supposed to hit on and then getting to the end and thinking, oh, no, it's not long enough. I've got to go back and figure out something. So, it's more about content and quality instead of quantity on that. I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you.
The discussion this week is just talking about, this is something that you even brought that up in the call today, just talking about how, there wasn't a phonics program for you. You learned whole language with sight words, and that's an excellent thing to bring up in the discussion post, is how important that would have been for you to have gotten that, because it's been hard for you.
Yeah.
the discussion this week is basically just bringing in your background, what you see around you, what you've seen in your lifetime as far as the phonetic approach to reading. One thing that I want
They also taught us speed reading.
Wow. I do not have very much background with speed reading. I'll be honest. I'm a slow learner, so reading, I struggled with reading, and I was blessed to have a balanced literacy program where there was phonics, but there was also whole language, and I still struggled. So I can't imagine. How do you feel about speed reading?
Well, that's all I've known. So I do read very fast. And I remember when I was doing something, and it was like a time, you're supposed to spend so much time on a chapter, and it was being timed, and I was always ahead. And they said, "You haven't spent enough time." And I'm thinking, what am I supposed to do? I can read this.
Wow. That's crazy. Everybody, the research shows everybody develops and reads at different levels, at different speeds. So, I mean, for a lot of kids, I would say, I don't know about that. Could you imagine? What if you were a student that liked to get into mischief, and they forced you to have more time on your hands to read something you've already read? You might get into something.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
So, like I said, that's all I've known is how to speed read.
And I think that's important for, in language and with literacy overall. We need to know these different strategies that are out there. So if we come across a child that, let's say we give them a reading passage and they're done in half the time, that's important to know that, yes, it is possible that they, that's how they learn to read. They could have already read it and understand it and are ready to move on.
Yeah. None of my kids got that.
I never got that. I wish I had more of that, because I'm a sloth when it comes to reading. The last thing on the discussion is just remember to support your findings with at least one citation. It doesn't have to be from course reading. It can be from any other source that's relevant to what you're talking about. And remembering to respond to 2 of your peers, because the discussion is, the board is kind of like that's our classroom. This is where we learn from each other. And so by responding to your peers, I think that is bringing out that discussion that we might not have without that. Now, at the end of the call, I just want to say that I hope that you all have a very, very wonderful 4th of July weekend, celebrating, our independence. It's a scary world nowadays as far as the things that we see going on around us. So I just wanted to point out that, we're blessed to live in a nation where, we can do this conference call. We can talk about remembering this sacrifice. So I just wanted to leave on a positive note and say that I hope you all enjoy your weekend and your 4th of July with your family. And I'm very flexible on the deadlines next week. If you're traveling or if you're doing things with your family, just let me know. I'm flexible with the deadlines. Family comes first, and I can't stress that enough.
Okay.
So I hope that you have a wonderful week and an even better weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Reach out to me if you need anything.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.